Guys, I'm back again today with another reaction video, and today we're reacting to geography now, Morocco. I recently went through my comments and somebody was like, I still love your reaction even if you don't react to Morocco, even if you forgot Morocco. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I did forget Morocco, but thank you for your comment. Here we are now. So we are gonna figure out what is the geography or the history, a little bit of history of Morocco. Before we do start, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell button to get notified whenever I do upload a video. Anyways, guys, let's check this out.
Morocco. It's not a Latin country. You're thinking Maracas. It's in the Arab world, but it's not really Arab much. It's in Africa and not the Middle East, but it borders Spain, literally, like 3 times. This is gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, Morocco is the question mark of a lot of countries, or the world, let me say. Because when you say, like, if you're a Moroccan person and you come to places like this, Asian countries, or even Western countries, and you tell them you're from Morocco, they'll be like, oh, but you know, but where's Morocco? And then you're gonna be like, Morocco is in Africa, and they're like, but why aren't you black? Because some of the Moroccans are not as dark as African. The reason why I said African is because they feel like African people are like darker, you know, like me, or even darker. So, and Moroccans are more like lighter than me, sometimes even like Asian skin tones. So it's confusing. That's why it's a big question mark, because you're like, oh, are you sure you're African, really? But they are, okay?
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. Most of you may have at least heard of the country Morocco. So many iconic images of Casablanca, the markets of Marrakesh, couscous, and fez hats, although they did not originate here, but they totally made it popular. There's a lot going on and a lot of stuff to cover, so let's just find this place on the map first, shall we?
I want to have like a
For Morocco, they have their own
stream so I can eat
things, and you kind of have that West Coast Arab vibe. They're kind of like the California of the Arab world, I guess you could say. Oddly enough, they also kind of have the same size and population of California.
And also look at the flags, so kind of similar.
Arab world, I guess you could say. Oddly,
we have like the green and the red, and we also have the green and the red. Okay, I'm stretching.
They also kind of have the same size and population of California. Anyway, the country is located in the North African region known as the Maghreb. It straddles the Atlantic Ocean to the west and the Mediterranean to the northeast, with a narrow 8-mile wide or 13-kilometer corridor between them and the tip of Spain, known as the Strait of Gibraltar.
They just like,
even though Gibraltar, an overseas territory of the UK, is
can
here,
they just
and the actual
take a
closest
boat
tip
there?
of Spain is here on the town and island of
Tarifa.
They are bordered by Algeria to the east, and we'll talk about these things in a sec. It's a tricky subject. The country is divided into 12 regions, 3 of which are locked in areas with a confusing dispute, and the capital, Rabat, located along the West Atlantic coast. The largest city, Casablanca, is just a skip away, whereas the next largest cities are Fez, closer inland, while Tangier and Marrakesh have almost identical populations.
Because last time I was thinking Marrakesh was the capital, but I forgot my African geography. Rabat.
Time switch off for 3rd place. Of course, the busiest airport is Casablanca's Mohammed V International. However, the next busiest are actually Marrakesh and Agadir, both incredibly popular destinations for business and tourism. Now let's get into the good stuff. You guys know how much I love territorial anomalies, and Morocco is loaded with them. First off, context. Morocco has gone through a lot of sovereignty switches. Historically, they were a French protectorate, and parts of it were colonized by the Spanish. United Nations labels this area as the largest and most populous non-self-governing territory in the world. And in a nutshell, it kind of went like this.
Okay, guys, I'm leaving. It seems like you guys are the ones that want this land the most, so I'll let you guys figure it out.
Non-governing?
See ya.
It's mine. Mine. No, it's mine. What are you talking about? No, dude, it's mine! Basically, there was a war between all 3 sides. Mauritania eventually stepped down, but Morocco kept going. And to this day, about 80% of the land, starting at around the 27th parallel, including almost the entire coast and most of the resources, with a sizable offshore oil deposit, is de facto run by Morocco. Out of the 500,000 residents in this area, only about a fifth live in the Polisario-claimed areas, and about 40% alone live in the Moroccan-run city of Laayoune, or El Ayoul. If you move inland, though, you reach the sand berm, a militarized wall in the middle of the sands that separates the SADR separatists from the rest of Morocco. Morocco. Here you reach the
Oh.
last and probably most intense Moroccan outpost, Gergera, which sits right on the berm wall. And from there, the map literally says no man's land until you reach the very tip of the Nouadhibou Peninsula that we talked about in the Mauritania episode, and it has an abandoned town called La Guera at the very tip. This is technically the only
In Spanish, or even in the Philippines, we have a little bit of Spanish, and guerra is war.
coastal land that the Polisario Front
Guerra.
has in their territorial claim. However, they don't really use it much because most of their imports come in from Mauritania or Algeria. Their headquarters is located in the town of Tindouf. Plus, Morocco is kind of keeping a very close eye on making sure that they don't try anything funny with access to the ocean. If you want to visit Western Sahara, though, you can pretty much only enter from Morocco, and even then, it might get closed off during times of tension. Whereas entrance to the Polisario Front claimed territory is almost impossible to any outsiders. To this day, about 40 countries have diplomatic relations with the SADR. No nation fully recognizes Morocco's full sovereignty over the entire area. However, many do support the idea of Morocco annexing the area as an autonomous, self-governing region under the Kingdom of Morocco. And if that wasn't enough, say hello to Spain's little friends. If you go up north on the Mediterranean, you'll find the Plazas de Soberanía. These are like the last and final remnants of the Spanish Empire in northern Africa, scattered along the coast.
So they got some
According to international law, the legality of these areas fall under Spain,
islands,
as scholars have been able to defend the claim that the modern state of Morocco was founded after these areas were already constitutionally part of Spain, even though Morocco was like,
That's mine.
Really? I mean, this button is literally attached to my shirt.
It's still my button.
the two largest entities being the
I
cities
like
of
that.
Ceuta, closer to Spain in the west, with a population of about 82,000, and Melilla, a little further east, with a population of about 80,000, and it has its own airport. In addition, you have the three Alucemas Islands, the three Chafarinas Islands, and finally, Peñón de Vélez de la Gomera, an incredibly small military outpost only connected by an
Sounds
85
very
meter wide
Spanish.
sandy isthmus, making it the world's shortest international.
Oh yeah, so those small islands are isthmus, right?
land border.
If
In
I
addition, two more
remember
islands fall under disputed
geography.
territory. There's Isla Perejil, Nube Island, and Isla de Alboran. Whew. Otherwise, I asked you guys, the Moroccan geography peeps, to give us a list of some of the coolest notable sites of Morocco. Some of the stuff you guys mentioned were Badi Castle, the blue city of Chefchaouen,
Ooh,
Jardin Majorel,
I like the
Mohammed V
color.
Mausoleum, the Hercules Cave, Ibn Danan Synagogue, the gates of Fez, and Fez disputedly has the largest car-free urban zone. These ruins of a Roman city, the castle
I
of
feel like
Meknes.
Morocco is Europe, I feel like it's a lost child right now. That looking at it, I realize Morocco is like, I feel like maybe during the shifting of the, how do you call it, of the lands, Morocco just got pulled by Africa, but it should literally be in Europe. That's why it's close to Spain. I feel like the shifting did something, and Morocco just ended up in Africa, but it should be in Europe. Looking at this now, I know.
This university, which is like the oldest in the world, the Merenid tombs, and of course Hassan II Mosque in Casablanca, the 7th largest mosque in the world,
at
and
that!
it has the
It's so
highest minaret in the
beautiful.
world. And speaking of things that have height, Morocco has some amazing mountains, which brings us to... Now, people tend to think that northern Africa is all sand, but when you head west, they have more rocks in Morocco. Man, I haven't done a slap gig in a long time. Thank you, Hannah. First of all, the country lies right on the boundary where the African plate meets the Eurasian plate, with the Atlas thrust fault lines cutting through the country, just at the very northern tip at the Rift Mountains. This also creates the other three mountain chains, the Middle Atlas, the Anti-Atlas, and the High Atlas, where the tallest peak and tallest in North Africa can be found, Toubkal. Also, you can find the largest lake, the Bin El Ouidan Reservoir, and the source
I
of the
wish I
largest
took
river, the Dra
geography
River, which flows all the way
as
into
a
the
course.
Atlantic. If you include Western Sahara down
This is
south, you get more
interesting.
dry and empty vast desert land with a decent mineral deposit used for mining. Basically, the coastal areas north of the mountains where the majority of the population lives are of course flatter and arable with more lush vegetation. Sometimes it even snows in the high
course.
altitudes. Morocco even has the largest ski resort in Africa, whereas
What? How don't I know this? Obviously, I went to school in Africa for elementary for like 6 years, so maybe I didn't reach deep into the history of Africa, so maybe that's why. Because when you come here to this side of the world, Asia, we focus more on Western countries, America. But anyways, Yeah, I never knew that. That's why this is intriguing.
Everything south of that is pretty much dry, rocky, and hot. All right, and that's that. Now it's time for my triple shot of espresso break like usual, which means Noah comes in.
I'm
Somebody
definitely
say,
getting coffee after.
You know what? Now, despite the arid terrain, Morocco actually has
This
quite
guy's
a multiple set of natural resources.
huge.
About 18% of the land is arable,
Is
and
he
about 12% of the
related
country is
to
forested. The country also has a wide range of biodiversity. Many are endemic
the
like
Wakanda
gazelles,
family?
boars, and fennec foxes, over 90 species of reptiles, and
R.I.P.
macaque monkeys. And yes, you may have seen the pictures of those tree-climbing goats.
Is
Yet
that real?
They do exist. They are found here as well, mostly in the town of Tamri. Unfortunately, due to illegal animal trade and human
I wanna
intervention, much of the
see.
species are disappearing, and some, like the national symbol of
I'm such a fraud. I'm such a fraud, guys. I really want to see a lion. That is my dream, is to see a lion in its natural habitat. I might die, but that is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I've been in Africa for 6 years, but I haven't even seen a lion. Like, I haven't gone to a safari. Oh gosh.
of Morocco, the Barbary lion, have gone extinct in the area. The last one was seen in 1922. Otherwise, Morocco is the 5th largest economy in Africa by GDP per person.
Come
Service
on!
industry jobs, mostly in mining, take the largest chunk of the workforce.
Morocco
I mean, they do hold about
thriving.
7% of the world's known phosphorus mines. Nonetheless, they are still a heavily agrarian dependent nation, as the sector employs about 40% of the populace.
I
It is
like
said that
this.
Morocco has the largest fish
Excuse me?
market in Africa, taking about 3% of their entire GDP, and they are the largest exporter of sardines.
Ooh.
Finally, little interesting side note, even though it's illegal to smoke it, they are the top exporter of legally grown cannabis in the world.
Legally?
Hashish. On average, they produce about 70%
That's
of Europe's
crazy.
imports. Speaking of resources,
So it's America
food.
getting it from
Some
there?
top dishes you guys, the Moroccan geography peeps mentioned, include things like anything cooked in a tangine pot, mafisa, harira soup, pastilla, sef.
Let's go back.
Resources,
I wanna
food.
see the
Some
food.
top dishes you guys, the Moroccan geography peeps mentioned, include things like anything cooked in a tangine pot, mafisa, harira soup, pastilla, sefa, ruzia, mashui, and of
Oh.
course the national dish of couscous. Everyone knows this one. And sweets like these amazing things. And finally, you cannot go around
Gonna
Morocco
cry.
without stumbling upon their favorite drink, mint tea. Oh, and Morocco is pretty much the only country that produces and exports argan.
It's so expensive here, especially when they label. I don't even know if it's authentic Moroccan argan oil, but it's so expensive here. That's why I never buy argan oil, because I can't afford, guys. They will label it Moroccan argan oil, and then it's priced like, let's say, the cheapest one I've seen, $1, $2, $3, $4, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, $10 for the cheapest argan oil. So Moroccan people, can you sell? I don't think customs will even allow like you guys to send it. Probably they will, but I don't know.
Oil. It is used in a variety of ways, sometimes in food, sometimes in
Oh,
cosmetics,
I didn't
or
know.
hair products.
Yeah, those
Pretty much
products
everything
are
that controls
so
my hair.
And
expensive.
speaking of things with hair, people, let's get to it, shall we?
Moroccan's hair, beauty.
That was a good transition, wasn't it?
So beautiful.
Because people have hair. Yeah.
I get
I have
it.
hair, I
You
think.
wrote it.
Yeah.
So,
You said it good. In the Arab world, Morocco is kind of seen as like the strange cousin that got brought into the family by marriage. Most Moroccans probably wouldn't even identify as Arab. Let's explain. First of
Yeah.
all, the country has about 36 million people.
You
and has
guys
the
are
largest
Europeans,
native
to be
Berber
honest.
Amazigh community in all of Africa.
You got
It's hard
scammed.
to get exact estimates, but the censuses say that somewhere around 41 to 80% of the entire population has Berber Amazigh ancestry.
I
whether
think
it be
we learned
full or
about that
partial,
the last
whereas
time, right?
90% are non-Berber identifying Arabs. The remaining 1% are made up of other groups, mostly French and Spanish, as well as West African immigrants. They use the Moroccan dirham as their currency. They use the type C and E plug outlets, and they drive on the right side
Do
of
we
the road.
use that?
And on
Yeah, I
that
think
note,
we do.
what is Berber / Amazigh? Now, we've talked about this in quite a few other videos before, but basically, in a nutshell, they are the native indigenous semi-nomadic peoples that have inhabited various regions of North Africa prior to Arab conquests. They
Yeah.
have a completely different story and background from
them.
Arabs. They have their own traditions, customs, art,
So
clothing,
white.
and language. Today, Berber / Amazigh is an official language alongside Arabic in both Morocco and Algeria, and it can be written in both the Latin and Neo-Tifinagh script, which looks awesome. It looks like dancing people.
It looks
you can
like
find it on street signs and
symbols.
billboards all over. That being
It looks like Greek almost, right?
awesome, it looks
I know in Ghana we have this also. We even have this symbol. I forgot what's the meaning. And I think we have the last two symbols, if I'm not mistaken. We learned it before. We learned it before, and I forgot. I'm just forgetful.
Looks like dancing people, and you can find it on street signs and billboards all over. That being said, most metropolitan Moroccans are trilingual, growing up with both languages and a European one as a third, mostly French. They were a French protectorate at one point.
Yeah.
Keith, if I asked you to ask all
Ooh,
the
his
Arabs
hair
around which
is
country they probably
Moroccan.
think has the weirdest
No,
dialect, which
it's
one do you
it's
think
like
you'd
my
say?
natural
Well,
hair.
considering I think this is the.
That's how I
Moroccan
look like in the
Sahara,
morning.
right? So I'm
Trust
gonna
me.
go Moroccan.
Yep.
Is that all you need me for?
Yeah, I mean, you just need more screen time because the subscribers love you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go
How I
awkwardly
love
dance
you
in the
both.
back. So I will.
I don't see why not. Moroccans speak Arabic with a distinct dialect known as Darija, very hard to understand from a standard speaker, and some say it could even be classified as its own language. Much of it is influenced off of Berber/Amazigh. For example, here's one of our subscribers from Morocco explaining.
So, hello, I am Ali from Tangier, Morocco, and I'm going to tell you the difference between Arabic and Moroccan dialect. Like, I am going to that place near the market. In Arabic, it will be like, سأذهب لذلك المكان بجوار المحل. But in Moroccan dialect, this is something just like, أنا أمشي لك البلاصة حدا الحانوت.
Wow. On another note, Morocco is also a monarchy.
I don't know.
Muhammad VI, claiming to be a direct
It's a
descendant of the
monarchy,
Islamic
I
prophet
see.
Muhammad. He belongs to the Alawite dynasty, the second oldest ruling dynasty in the
I
world.
didn't
after
know
Japan's
that.
Nomato
It was
imperial
a
family.
monarch.
The country's state religion is Islam. The vast majority, at about 99%, identify as adhering to the faith, mostly in the Sunni branch, and the remainder are mostly Christians and a small Jewish community. Speaking of which,
wow.
Morocco used to have the largest Jewish population in
That
the
is why
Arab
their
world. Some
symbol
estimates
is
claiming
like
to be up to 350,000.
that.
After war times of the 20th century, though, nearly all of them either fled or were expelled, most heading to Israel, and today Moroccan Jews make up the second largest Jewish ethnic subgroup in Israel, and today less
That's
than 3,000 remain
crazy.
in Morocco. Culturally speaking, Moroccans have a very vibrant background, most of which being Berber Amazigh influenced. Keep in mind, though, there are many different types of Berber Amazigh peoples and tribes. Some are light-skinned, some are dark-skinned, some have different customs, but overall, there are some universal traits that they all kind of share. You know what, Hannah? Come on in, just take this one. You know, why not?
Okay. Prior to the spread of Islam, most Berber/Amazigh were traditionally animists that practiced things like ancestor veneration.
I had one
Facial and
Moroccan
body
friend.
tattoos were common
Yeah.
a long time ago amongst women, with each
When I was
image
young, I had
symbolizing
this
something important,
neighbor
but the practice has been
when I was in
dying out
Ghana.
since the 1940s,
She's
and
from
today
Morocco.
you can only find it mostly amongst the elderly.
So
the national dress
pretty.
for both men and
I don't know
women
where she
in
is
this
right now,
scarf is
but
called jalaba, a long, loose hooded garment which
so
serves to
pretty.
keep the person warm but also protected from the sun. Moroccan architecture and literature is unique in itself. The high wall jar
Ooh,
structure is common to help
beautiful.
ward off thieves and animals while minimizing heat. Metalwork, textiles, and pottery are of course world renowned. Much of the traditional music incorporates a fusion
Wow,
of
didn't
Arab
know.
and Berber/Amazigh undertones, with a touch of French and maybe Andalusian Spanish.
Jeez, this list is getting pretty long. Ken, what else do we have to cover?
Let's see. There's the fortune teller thing,
Oh
the
god, that's
bath
some.
house, the Riff Independence thing, the weird dentist where you could find in the marketplace.
We don't have time. Let's just save it for Fan Friday. Thank you, Hannah. I'll do the history
What?
part.
Fan Friday?
Morocco's history in the quickest way I can condense it. The state of Carthage, independent Berber kingdoms, Roman Empire, Muslim conquests, Berber revolt, first Moroccan state under this dynasty. These dynasties come in, which are responsible for Muslim Spain. Reconquista occurs. These dynasties. Finally, the Alawite dynasty, which is the current one. First Moroccan crisis, the Treaty of Fez, independence, Green March, Arab Spring, and here we are today. I asked you guys, the Moroccan geography peeps, for a list of some famous Moroccans.
Are those
Whether they
people
partial
watching
or fully
soccer?
Moroccan. Some people you mentioned
Football.
were historical figures like Ibn Rushd or Averroes, Ibn Tashfin, Ibn Battuta, Princess Dia,
Wow, that's a lot of Ebens.
Tariq ibn Ziyad, contemporaries like Samira Said, Saad Lamjared, Badr Hari, Marian Shadid,
Okay,
contemporaries like
we know some
Samira
of these.
Said, Saad Lamjared, Badr Hari, Marian Shadid, Mehdi Banatia, Otman Benjaloun, Gad Elemale, Red One, French Montana, Edith Mehdi Banatia, Otman Benjaloun, Gad Elemale, Red One, French
Red
Montana,
One, oh,
Edith
interesting.
Piaf. Yeah, she was part Moroccan. Technically kind of David Guetta,
Really?
Hicham Garouj, and of course the Moroccan royal family. Whew, yeah, Morocco
I
has
knew
quite a lot of
French
interesting
Montana
people
was
and backstory.
Moroccan,
No wonder
so-
why they have such a unique set of friends. See what I did there? It's a transition into the...
I don't know what you said. Friend
Morocco's
zone.
proximity to Europe and access to the Atlantic has always meant that they had way more exposure to
Gear.
the Western world than most of their cousins, which has played a crucial role in their diplomacy. For one, they were the first country in the world to recognize the USA as a country. Yeah, Morocco. During the Revolution times, Sultan
Wow.
Muhammad III in 1777 said any
Didn't
American
know.
merchant ship in his trade routes were under his protection. And in 1786, they signed the Moroccan-American Treaty of Friendship, which is actually the oldest friendship treaty in the USA. With Spain, it's kind of like a love-hate relationship, as they do great business and have history, but there's always the exclave thing. Saudi Arabia is like a close friend that typically supports and funds many projects and deals in Morocco.
wow.
Morocco sent troops to help Saudi Arabia during the Gulf War, and the two kings get along pretty well. When it comes to their best friends, however, it's interesting because most Moroccans I have talked to have actually said France. Despite the past colonial issues, they've moved on, and France does the most business with Morocco. French is widely spoken. Both countries' peoples are always visiting or moving to each other. France has the highest Moroccan population outside of Morocco, and today they work together.
Didn't know that.
In conclusion, Morocco is kind of like the uncle that married into the Arab family. It's probably one of
And also the African family, because I feel like Morocco should be in Europe, but welcome to Africa, right?
the most beautiful
Why
places
not?
to visit in the Arab world, but maybe not the best place to learn what it truly means to be Arabic. Stay tuned. Mozambique is coming up next.
Interesting. I like this channel. They give us a lot of lessons, and I think I have to delve into my other half. But anyways, guys, this was very interesting, and let me know if there are other countries that you would like me to check or other videos of Morocco. So anyways, guys, let me know what other videos you like me to react to. If you like this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, leave in the comment section down below what other videos you like to react to. The original link of this video will be in the description box down below, so as my social media links. So guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.